Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Chauskas. Today's the 6th of July 2018, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this last trading day for this week. And in this session, this morning session, we're going to have a look at a few instruments that I believe are quite interesting at the moment. And but before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, before we jump into the charts, quick reminder of our JFD Brokers website, and specifically click here, research, and then go read JFD research. It will take you to our page, which we update on a daily basis. We throw out different trading shoutouts, technical analysis, and of course we produce our daily analysis, which we put out every morning. So currently it's getting prepared. So yeah, feel free to check us out, guys, and I think you can find something useful for yourselves. But for now, let's quickly have a look at the charts. So the first one I want to look at is the Stoxx. Now the Stoxx 50. A very interesting developments happening here. Certainly we're seeing this reversal here back to the upside. We're moving higher, currently sitting around these 21 and the 50 EMAs, sorry, 121 and 100 EMA, so it's kind of making its way towards the 50 right now. It seems that way. Well, currently, just looking at this bigger picture, we can see that yes, it's still kind of held here below this longer term resistance line, this downwards moving resistance line that's running here since the 23rd of January, and also held here by this shorter term resistance line here, shorter term downtrend, probably could call it this way, which is running here since the 22nd of May. Now it would be interesting to see if this is actually going to make its way here, if the index is going to make its way up to this trend line, make a touch, get a touch of it, and then probably maybe, I don't know, maybe you break it to the upside and move higher, or maybe retrace back to the downside. But we'll have to just evaluate it at that point. But for now, certainly at the moment it seems somewhat more bullish than bearish. Certainly anything can happen and we could maybe reverse back down here and move lower, but for now certainly like I said, the longer, kind of slightly longer term picture looks a bit more bullish, and we could end up moving towards this downwards moving trend line here. So keep an eye on this one, and certainly if we take a look at a slightly bigger picture here, and if we take a trend line and draw it from these lows here, we could see that this is the part where it found its support at around this upwards moving trend line here, this long-term upwards moving trend line. It has been running here since around the 24th of June 2016. So a very good area that it hit. We can see that it reversed here and moved higher. So we probably going to assume that this is going to be quite important line for the future as well, if, let's say, if it reverses back down. So but for now, like I said, keep an eye on this one, keep a close eye on the potential upside. If, let's say, we could position ourselves for a potential trade here, then we could eventually wait until we get a nice break here above the yesterday's highs at around 34.60 approximately there, and this is where we could start positioning ourselves maybe for higher levels, as I just mentioned before to you guys. Certainly excuse me for my voice, certainly always have your stop loss in place, and a good area for potential stop loss could be around maybe this level right here at around 34.40. Certainly keep it tight, just because, like I said, we could maybe see a reversal back to the downside and we could start aiming for lower levels. So for now, keep a close eye on this one. Certainly it would be interesting to see if it makes a move back up here towards this downwards moving trend line. Now, excuse me for my voice, guys. So looking at gold, and this one is an interesting one. So certainly stuck here now below this area, this key area of resistance, this 1261 mark. Now, currently we can see that it on on Wednesday tried to break through this one, but never happened. Got held here, so then Thursday kind of also tried to made an attempt to move higher here, but still was unsuccessful. The bulls were unsuccessful. And now we're stuck here at this area again, slightly below this 1261. We are keeping an eye on this one. Certainly, we don't forget that we do have some jobs numbers, U.S. job numbers coming out today, so could potentially maybe see a move here, a good move in gold as well. But of course, that's just an idea. Of course, maybe you actually won't react at all, and just close the week this way. So if we look at the weekly chart, we can see that currently, yep, the candle is positive, but nevertheless, I mean, like I said, the day has just started, and this could turn out to be ugly for the gold, and we could see a slight lower where we could close the week in the red again. Or another scenario, which could be a possible one, where this week is going to close something with like a doji here, and as we can see that it's quite undecided here, this candle here. Well, the traders are quite undecided, and yeah, we could maybe close the week with something like with a doji here, but for now, just keep an eye on it. Like I said, this is just an idea. And coming back to the daily chart, or actually let's jump into the 4-hour chart straight away in order to kind of find out how we could position ourselves. Now, so currently we can see that we're stuck here in this little range here between this the level that I just mentioned, the 1261, and this a good area of support at around 1251. So 1251 can also act as a very nice good area of support here. So this is probably how you could position yourselves for today. If we start seeing a break here below this area, this is where you could potentially maybe enter a short, where you could target initially the 1245, and then maybe actually this long-term upwards moving trend line, if which is running here for quite a while, and this upwards moving trend line has been running here since around the December 2015, so quite an important line, let's say. I mean, and if we do get a break here below the 1251, let me just jump back into the 4-hour chart. We could, like I said, we could start targeting the 1245, but if that doesn't hold, well, and then we could probably make our way towards this upwards moving trend line. Certainly, I need to kind of point out the importance of having your stop loss in place, guys. I mean, so this is something, let's say if you are entering a position short here, so probably you could have your stop loss somewhere around these areas here, around the 1257, because if we start breaking it to the upside here, this could open the path towards the 1261, and well, this is where it could become interesting, because this is where the bulls and the bears would start battling it out, and probably there could be a case maybe that the bulls could win this one and we could see a push higher here, but of course this is pure speculation for now. Let's see what happens, but this is just an example of how you could position yourselves, guys. So if, let's say, just for the visual, from the visual perspective, let me just quickly highlight this potential idea. So let me just kind of drag this a little bit here. Now there we go. If we this is not working for me today. There we go, something like this, this way, and of course something like this. So this is how you could potentially position yourselves for today. Like I said, always have your stop losses in place, guys, and yeah, I mean, keep an eye on the price action. Now, another one that could be affected today by the numbers is the euro dollar. Certainly, let's put a daily chart first. and we're seeing a nice push here higher. We're seeing that we've broken through the through this downwards moving resistance line. We've broken it yesterday. Of course, it wasn't like a clear break. It was just more of a it dragged itself out of it, let's say like that. So we've opened Thursday above this downwards moving resistance line, and we pushed higher. This is the level that I was watching about and talking about in my previous videos, the 117.250. We can see that we've managed to kind of almost touch that level. So now it seems like it's trying to have another attempt at that level. Certainly, if this starts to break to the upside, this is where it could become more interesting, because we could end up pushing towards this key area of resistance at around 118,400. Now keep a close eye on that one, certainly, but only kind of consider that level if we get a nice pop here through the 117.250. On the downside, well, I mean, we need to probably jump into a 4-hour chart here to kind of have a look at the downside. So this is where it's kind of looking interesting. So on the very short term, we have this, on looking at the 4-hour chart, of course, we have this upwards moving trend line here that's running from the 28th of June, so approximately there. So a very short term upwards moving trend line. Currently, we can see that the price continues to kind of hold to it, continues creating here higher lows, and some could say probably we could be looking at something like an ascending triangle, but to be honest, it's a bit of a bad example, because you can see that it wasn't a clear touch here of this side. So for now, we're just gonna assume that this is just a nice trend line here that's kind of the pair is holding on to. And as I've mentioned before, guys, if we do get a nice pop here through the 117.250, well, we could start positioning ourselves for higher levels potentially. Of course, this is a good probably idea for a potential trade here. Could be something like this. So if you enter a position here slightly above the 117.250, of course, have your stop loss in place. So you could place your stop loss somewhere around this level right here at around 116,800, something like that. And of course, we could start targeting the 118,400, potentially that area. So certainly it's quite a nice 2.46 risk reward ratio. Now the reason why I'm talking about this level as a stop loss, because if, let's say, we reverse back down here, we probably at this point we would start breaking this upwards moving trend line here, this short-term upwards moving trend line, which could actually change the whole, well, change the game here, let's say like that. Let's say like that. We could then start moving much lower, certainly maybe actually going back towards this longer term downwards moving resistance line that I was just talking about, and we could test it from above here. So that's why it's probably good to kind of cut your losses early, and we'll probably take a hit here. Things happen, and but at least you kind of exited this pair early. So for now, guys, certainly keep an eye on it. If you do want to kind of maybe raise it, well, drop the stop loss slightly below it, just in case, for example, slightly below it, and move it somewhere to, let's say, 116,700. This way you could probably potentially allow maybe for a false breakout here, just a little bit of room here. Maybe we would get like a small false breakout, maybe we would touch this 200 EMA and then reverse back up here. So that's why probably we could slightly adjust the 116,700 level to be the stop loss for this potential trade. But of course, keep an eye on the price action, guys. I mean, we could, like I said, we could never reach this 117,250, and we could start reversing back down straight away. And this is the point where, well, I would recommend to stay sharp and be careful. And one last pair that I really wanted to touch on is the USDCAD. Now, USDCAD, looking at the daily picture, certainly you can see that it's in anticipation of the numbers. We do have Canadian numbers coming out today as well, so we are stuck here between this little range here, which I'll go into the 4-hour chart and have a look at it better. But looking at this bigger picture, the the pair is below this 21 EMA. So, and also it's kind of testing this key area of support right now, the 131.250 approximately there, which has been a nice area of resistance here on around the 19th of March this year. So now we can see that it's kind of acting as a good area of support. Certainly keep an eye on it, guys, and like I said, if we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see that yes, I mean, it's stuck here between these two levels. Let me just quickly highlight those. So this very tight zone, probably it's going to continue dragging itself up until the numbers come out. So they're going to be like the traders going to be waiting for a nice pop here, either to the upside or a nice break here to the downside below this support line, this key level of support at around 131.250 that I was just talking about. So if we do get something like this, guys, if we do get a break below, well, we could potentially start aiming for this level right here at around 13500, which acted as a nice area of resistance here in the past. And of course, if that doesn't stop it, well, we could drop a little bit lower. But for now, keep an eye on this little range. Certainly if you are entering a position here on a break, let's say, always have your stop loss in place. So because of the tight range that we've got here, I mean, we could potentially, let's say, if we are entering a short here on a break, then put your stop loss somewhere around this level here at around 131.650. Approximately there, because if this breaks, if this starts to break, we could see the USDCAD kind of moving higher again, initially maybe towards this nice area of potential resistance at around 132.250, and then slightly above that. So but of course, this is just an idea. Keep an eye. I mean, be your own judge. Certainly have your own head on your shoulders, and take the position which is comfortable for you guys. So okay, I'll have to wrap it up here. I kind of went over my time limit a little bit, but nevertheless, I hope you found it useful. I hope you're gonna have a good European session. If you want to join me later on to my Traders Tea Time, and that's 13:15 GMT, 14:15 British Summer Time. But for now, thank you very much, and bye bye.